There's a quiet truth that echoes through every life that has ever tasted success, a truth often forgotten in the noise of ambition and the pursuit of personal glory. No one succeeds alone. Behind every achievement, every breakthrough, and every transformation lies an unseen web of human connection, mentors who guided, friends who believed, critics who challenged, and even strangers who inspired us to keep going. This book, Why No One Succeeds Alone, is not just a study of success. It is a revelation of the human spirit, a reminder that greatness is not born in isolation but nurtured in connection. The author weaves together powerful stories, timeless lessons, and emotional reflections to show us that every step forward we take is built upon the shoulders of those who came before, walked beside, or reached out when we were about to fall. The journey begins with a powerful image, a child learning to walk. No one learns to walk alone. There are hands that lift, arms that catch, and smiles that encourage. Yet, as we grow older, we forget this truth. We become obsessed with independence, believing that asking for help is weakness, that relying on others diminishes our worth. The book invites us to unlearn this illusion. It reminds us that self-reliance and connection are not opposites, they are partners. True independence is born when we can stand strong enough to collaborate, to share, and to uplift others as we rise. One of the most moving parts of the book shares the story of a young entrepreneur who believed that success was purely a matter of personal discipline. He worked long nights, shut out friends, and focused solely on his goals. Years later, when his business began to crumble under pressure, it wasn't his strategy that saved him, it was the network of people he had once pushed away. A mentor reappeared to guide him, an old friend introduced him to new investors, and the same people he had neglected became the ones who lifted him up again. His story became the heartbeat of the book's message: success without connection is fragile. The author explains that every human being carries what he calls invisible bridges. These are the unseen bonds between us and others, bridges of kindness, mentorship, shared experience, and empathy. When we honor these bridges, life flows more easily, opportunities appear, doors open, and challenges seem lighter. But when pride, ego, or isolation destroy these bridges, our path becomes narrow and lonely. True success, he teaches, is not climbing the mountain alone, it's reaching the summit with others and extending a hand to those still climbing. Throughout the book, the author dives into the emotional psychology of connection. He speaks about how the greatest achievers, from artists to leaders to scientists, have all drawn strength from a community. Thomas Edison had dozens of collaborators. Martin Luther King Jr. had an entire movement of souls behind him. Even the most brilliant minds like Einstein thrived through correspondence, debate, and shared inspiration. The myth of the self-made person is just that, a myth. Behind every so-called self-made man or woman is a story of love, guidance, and generosity. But Why No One Succeeds Alone doesn't just dwell on others' stories, it turns the mirror toward us. It asks deep, unsettling questions. Who has helped you become who you are? Have you thanked them? Who have you helped rise? The book teaches that gratitude and contribution are the twin engines of human growth. The moment we start acknowledging the people who helped us, even silently, in our hearts, we begin to see life differently. Gratitude opens us to connection, contribution sustains it. One especially touching chapter tells the story of a teacher who believed in a failing student. The boy came from a difficult background, and everyone had given up on him, except her. She saw a spark in his eyes and refused to let him sink. Years later, that boy became a successful engineer and returned to that same school to establish a scholarship in her name. The author calls this the circle of upliftment, a cycle that keeps success alive. Every person you help carries a part of you forward. Every person who helps you leaves their fingerprint on your destiny. The book also explores the darker side of isolation, how ego, competition, and the modern obsession with individuality often pull us away from the human bonds that once sustained us. We live in a time where people celebrate the grind, the hustle, and the illusion of solitary achievement. But what we often don't see is the burnout, emptiness, and loneliness that follows. Success, when not shared, becomes a hollow victory. The author gently reminds us that fulfillment is not found in what we accumulate, but in what we connect, hearts, minds, and souls. In another profound section, the author talks about vulnerability. To succeed with others, we must first have the courage to be seen as imperfect. We must dare to admit we don't have all the answers. It is in these moments of openness that trust is born. People don't connect with perfection, they connect with authenticity. When we share our fears, doubts, and dreams with honesty, we invite others into our story. And in doing so, we create a space where mutual growth becomes possible. The author beautifully connects this idea with the metaphor of a garden. A single flower can bloom, yes, but a garden thrives when flowers share sunlight, soil, and space. In life, our connections are that sunlight and soil. The stronger our relationships, the richer our growth. The book teaches that success, therefore, is not a solo victory, it's a shared harvest. There's also a powerful chapter about energy exchange. Every interaction we have either gives energy or drains it. The author encourages readers to become conscious energy givers, to speak words that uplift, to listen deeply, to celebrate others' success, and to be genuinely present. When you raise others, you don't lose energy, you expand it. Success built on love and service multiplies, success built on ego eventually collapses. The closing chapters of Why No One Succeeds Alone bring everything together into one transformative truth, that the purpose of life is not just to succeed, but to co-create. When we begin to see our life as part of a greater tapestry, we move from ambition to purpose, from competition to collaboration, from isolation to unity. The book invites you to look at your own life with new eyes. Think of the people who once gave you advice, who stood by you when others turned away, who believed in your dream when it was just a whisper. Think also of those who now need your encouragement, your time, or your belief. The author reminds us that success is not a destination, it's a chain of human moments, each one connecting to another. And so, the book ends not with a conclusion, but with an invitation to live differently. To make every interaction a seed of connection. To remember that behind every success story lies a village of hearts. To be humble enough to ask for help, and strong enough to give it. Because the truth is timeless, we rise higher when we rise together. Why No One Succeeds Alone is more than a book, it's a call to return to our humanity. It whispers that love, kindness, mentorship, and gratitude are not soft virtues, they are the foundations of greatness. It reminds us that our deepest fulfillment will never come from standing at the top alone, but from looking around and seeing how many others we lifted along the way. And when you look back on your life, years from now, you will realize that the true measure of success is not what you achieved, but how many lives you touched. That, in the end, is what makes success complete.